everyone. I'm Barbara Ham-Lee. Today on Another View, we celebrate Juneteenth, the historic day when all enslaved African Americans were freed. Dr. Jajuan Johnson joins me from William and Mary to talk about the history of what is now a national holiday. And our very own Lisa Godley is live from our WHRO parking lot, where we have food trucks full of goodies to commemorate the occasion. Hey, come on, join us here at WHRO Public Media. We're at 5200 Hampton Boulevard in Norfolk. Grab some lunch and enjoy the show. Another View. We're coming up next, right after this national, regional, and local news from NPR and WHRO News.
Discussing today's topics from an African-American perspective, this is Another View.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Another View. I'm Barbara Ham-Lee. Today, it's a commemoration and a celebration of the day that enslaved African Americans in Texas found out that they were free, June 19th, 1865. Now, we're going to talk about the history of this now national holiday, Juneteenth. I'll tell you about Juneteenth activities all over Hampton Roads. And we're live from the WHRO parking lot where folks are lined up at food trucks for a delicious lunch and fellowship. Our Lisa Godley is live right outside our studio doors. Hey, Lisa, how you doing?
Barbara, it's a party in the parking lot. Folks have come out of the building here at WHRO. They're coming up from the community, too. We have fabulous food trucks here, whether you want all soul food or you want a little healthy flavor of soul food from Avocargo. Shauna's Eats is out here. The Confection House has red velvet cupcakes in commemoration of Juneteenth and chocolate chip cookies. So we're just having a good time. We're enjoying ourselves, and it's a WHRO, also a WHRO event. I am here with Rhonda Hayes, who's going to tell us a little bit about how we just kind of got this going.
Oh, right. It's the DEIB committee that's we're in partnership with Another View today, and we're enjoying this beautiful weather. And we started planning our event for the preteen celebration for our Juneteenth, and we're happy to have our good food trucks that we have here today, and we want everybody to come out and enjoy yourself and celebrate with us. And we do have some memorabilia here today that we're going to be talking about. You come look at, and we have a handout for you. And it's so much excitement here today, and we're so happy to celebrate, and we want you to come celebrate with us.
Oh,
That's
and
right.
Rhonda, you're in charge of the diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. I noticed that
Yes.
you use B as opposed to J. So that's very, very interesting. How long has that been going on here at WHRO?
How long has DEIB been going on?
Okay.
I'm wearing the headsets, Barbara,
okay,
so I have to
sorry.
kind of relate.
Okay. All right,
Yes.
no problem.
Well, I've been chairperson for a year, but we've had it for 2 years, and we're making real progress and doing some things for the community, for WHRO, and we're having diversified events. Whatever month that we're celebrating, we try to bring it here so that we all can learn about it, and we're all learn something about diversity.
That's
as
fantastic.
we go on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rhonda. We really appreciate it. Barbara, we are here. We are ready. So let me know when you want me to come back, because I got some guys here that have some interesting information about things going on in the community.
We will do that. And I just want to tell people we're at 5200 Hampton Boulevard here in Norfolk, directly across the street from Old Dominion University. So if you want to get some great lunch, and we've got Avocargo and Shauna's Rich Eats and Confection House with the delicious red velvet cupcakes. So come on down and enjoy lunch with us. Lisa, we'll be back to you in just a little while.
All right.
Okay, see you
Looking
soon.
forward to it.
Alrighty. Joining me now in studio is Dr. Jajuan Johnson, postdoctoral research associate with the Lemon Project at William and Mary. Dr. Johnson specializes in African American history, African American theology, U.S. history, race and ethnicity, oral history, and gender and sexuality. And we welcome him to Another View to talk about the history of Juneteenth. And actually, he's not actually in the studio. He's on the phone with me in the studio. So how about that? How are you, Dr. Johnson?
I'm doing great, Barbara. How are you this afternoon?
I'm doing great. Don't you wish you were here so you could be out there enjoying those food trucks?
I got very excited when she mentioned the red velvet cupcake.
Absolutely. So I'm so happy that you're joining us today, because I think that, number one, this is the latest national holiday. It's only
Absolutely.
2 years old. So a lot of people are still confused. They don't have any idea, what is Juneteenth?
Well, I think if we want to know what it is, I think we have to take a step back, and we have to, if you allow me, just to give a bit of the history here. Okay, so enslaved people in the Confederate States were technically freed as early as January the 1st, 1863. And this is the date when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed by President Abraham Lincoln and went into effect. So the proclamation was really only as good as the Union Army's enforcement of it. And so it didn't pertain to enslaved people in the Union border states of Delaware, Kentucky, Maryland, and Missouri, meaning that slavery ended in a region when the Army occupied the territory.
So the Army had to actually go in and take over that territory first.
Correct. So
Okay.
that kind of, here we're dealing with the complexities of the Emancipation Proclamation. So, and so even after General Robert E. Lee, commander of the Confederate Army, surrendered at Appomattox on April the 9th, 1865, and this particular date is generally regarded as the end of the Civil War. But battles, skirmishes, and slavery continued. And the last Confederate holdouts moved further away from the approaching Union Army as possible, ending up in Texas. And so despite the strong wording Emancipation Proclamation, it has some limitations. As I mentioned, it only applied to the states that seceded from the United States. It was not a national policy. It exempted parts of the Confederacy that came under Northern control. And so at this time, over really 800,000 Black people in bondage are excluded from the Emancipation Proclamation. And so, but also what this has done is that Emancipation Proclamation, it confirmed African Americans' insistence that the war for the Union must become a war for freedom. And it was only really a matter of time for that to happen, because African Americans were pushing for this freedom, in that we were freeing ourselves long before this. So
when they got to Texas, it was actually Galveston Bay.
Correct.
Were they the last of the group of African Americans to be freed then, or were there still others where the Union Army still hadn't gotten there yet?
Yeah, there must have, but there was still others. It was kind of this complicated matter. So when they arrived, and I'll kind of talk a bit about that. So on April 9th, 1865, Civil War ends, and there's still no official notification in Texas, right? So they're holding out until Major General Gordon Granger was given command of the Department of Texas on June the 10th, 1865. And 9 days later, he arrived in Galveston with troops and issued General Order Number 3, declaring that all slaves are free and that the relationship between master and slave would from then on be considered as that of between employer and hired labor. And that's when a lot of problems began.
Well, okay, so I know that you also specialize in oral history. So I'm wondering if I could get you to go into your imagination and give us a narrative of what may have happened on that day when that order was read and the people in Texas realized that they were free. Can you just kind of give us a sense of what was going on and how they were able to absorb that news?
I think it's in a few ways, and that I think we also have to consider, as I imagine this, that people are freeing themselves before this. People are self-emancipating. And so this system is becoming, definitely unhinged by African American resistance that's taken place. And so this information wasn't necessarily new because people are leaving.
Okay.
Leading up to this, and we know this because of the fugitive slave advertisements. Still, advertisements are being made to bring people back, in bondage, but they're liberating themselves. So on this particular day, we understand that there was some jubilance. However, there was also a reality that the struggle is just beginning, because the enslavers were not going to give up without a fight. And so even as I think about this and imagine it, I also have to bring to mind the words in that general order number 3, and that enslaved people, or newly freed people rather, were advised to remain quietly at their present home and work for wages. And so I would imagine myself feeling deeply conflicted. And everyone is experiencing this in different ways. If you're an elder person and cannot leave, what do you do? If you're a person who's been threatened, if you are to leave, what do you do in that circumstance? If you have children, if you have family members and your community has been in this particular place for a long time, there's a lot of conflict that's taking place. So there's this jubilance, of course, that's happening with the reality, the official announcement. However, there's this deep conflict. And I will even say fear is taking place as well in this moment.
Yeah. And in that order also, it says they are informed that they will not be allowed to collect at military posts and that they would not be supported in idleness either there or elsewhere. So in other words, you weren't going to hang out on the street corner.
And you have no resources. You've been free, but how do you leave?
Right.
Where do you go?
Well, and that's the conundrum because a lot of people. Well, let me back up for just a second before we talk about that. Enslaved owners, the ones who owned people, knew about this proclamation.
Absolutely,
but did not tell their enslaved.
Well, also, and enslaved people also knew about this change. The people were not ignorant. People were leaving. And we have evidence of that. We have evidence of that in the Freedmen Bureau records. We have these testimonies. So beyond my imagination, they're actually testimonies. They're recorded, documented testimonies in the Freedmen Bureau records that you can access on Ancestry.com, Family Search. The Smithsonian has a database as well. And so you can read these testimonies of what people are experiencing at this particular time, even 2 years after emancipation, and there's still this struggle for freedom. So there's definitely some jubilance taking place, but there's also reality that this freedom that we're experiencing this emancipation is not a one-time event, that it's going to be a lifelong process.
Absolutely. So, Jajuan, I'm going to ask you to hang on for just a second because there are lots of celebrations that are going on within Hampton Roads. And I want to go back to Lisa Godley, who is in the parking lot here at WHRO. We got food trucks out there. People are coming by to enjoy lunch with us and listen to the show. And I want to talk about one of the activities that are going to be happening in Virginia Beach. Hey, Lisa.
Hey there. Hi, Barbara. I am here with Team Lamb, or two members of Team Lamb, two handsome young men who are here to tell me about some of the festivities that are going on this weekend. But before I go into that, tell me a little bit about that name, Team Lamb. How did that come about?
Yes, thank you for having us. I'm Israel. I'm with Ed. We're two of the founders of Team Lamb. Team Lamb is an acronym that stands for Tell Everyone Around Me, Love All My Brothers. We also have a nonprofit that stands for the Lambs Foundation, which is Love All My Brothers and Sisters.
Very nice, very nice. So when do the festivities begin, Edward?
They begin Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, June 17th, 18th, and 19th, promptly starting at 10 a.m. We'll be located at 24th Street Stage and Park at the Virginia Beach oceanfront. And we end on Saturday and Sunday at 10, and then we're ending on Monday at 7, an early day, because everyone has to go back to work the next day.
Right. Now, I understand that there's a pageant happening this weekend as well. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, ma'am. So we decided last year at our inaugural Juneteenth at the Beach Festival, we brought back the return of Miss Tidewater. So brief history on the Miss Tidewater beauty pageant. Would you believe me if there was a black beach in Virginia Beach? So it was located on Shore Drive. It was called Seaview Beach and Amusement Park, where colors only could attend. So one of their running themes that they had was the Miss Tidewater Norfolk Peaches beauty contest. So we wanted to relive that moment in history at the 24th Street stage and park last year for our inaugural Juneteenth Fest. It's a great turnout. We had tons of talented women compete for the crown. Our winner for last year, 2022, shouts out to Miss Chandler Noel. And this year we're bringing it back as well. It's just a tradition that we want to keep going on with our Juneteenth festival.
It sounds absolutely wonderful. Israel, what other activities can folks expect?
Well, yeah, right after that showcase pageant, there will be an Emerge Artist Showcase featuring some of the top local artists in this area. We don't like calling them local because we understand that their assignment is to grow, so that we call them the emerging artists. From 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Saturday, June 17th, this weekend, we'll be having the Emerge Artist Showcase, and you can check out some of your favorite local artists. We'll be going up all night, and then Sunday morning we'll have the Kicking It With My Daddy block party. That's going to be fun. That's going to be vibrant. You can bring your dad, you can bring your kids. You can have a dance. We're going to have a daddy-daughter dance. We're going to have a poetry showcase with Teens with a Purpose. We're also having a Father of the Year award showcase, so that'll be tons of fun things to do for the family.
Oh, wow. You can celebrate Father's Day and Juneteenth all in the same weekend. Have a good time. All right, guys. Is there anything you want people to know before, I let you go and enjoy everything else that's going on out here today? Is there anything in particular you want folks to know?
Yes. Check Team Lamb out at teamlamb_Inc. on Instagram. Our website is teamlamb.us. And also, you could check out the festival's website, juneteenthvb.com. And David or Israel, can you let them know about if they want to participate, any last minute vendors or sponsors?
Yes, we have right now currently the City of Virginia Beach partnering up with us on this event. So shout out to them. Shout out to all our sponsors that have joined us, like United Way, Black Brand, Sam's Club, Up Center, and we're just excited to have this impact in the community this year. If you are interested in being a sponsor or a vendor moving forward with us, please reach out to teamlamb_inc on Instagram, or you can email us at teamlambinc@gmail.com.
Wonderful. And if you want a party today, come on out here to the WHRO parking lot. We'll be here about 2 o'clock. All right, Barbara, back to you.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Lots of things going on. And I love that Team Lamb stands for Tell Everyone Around Me, Love All My Brothers. So thank you very much for that. And Dr. Johnson, I want to come back to you to continue our conversation. So when was the actual first Juneteenth celebration?
Well, of course, on that particular moment, there was jubilation, but there's so many celebrations that were occurring that we can't really fully account it as to when the actual first celebration happened. Because, of course, as you know, African Americans are migrating to other places outside of Texas, so there have been celebrations that I know of in Arkansas that go back to 1870. There is people who had migrated from Texas and into the state, but we can definitely mark that particular day as a moment of jubilation for those who have received this official notification, and those who may not have been fully aware of what emancipation meant. But the word, of course, for freedom at that particular time for them, of course, had many different meanings. But to receive this official notice, I would say on that particular day, we can mark that as the beginning of this holiday.
So when we celebrate it now, are there certain things that we eat? Are there certain drinks that we drink? What is a Juneteenth celebration? A typical Juneteenth celebration?
Well, as you know, African Americans, we're not a monolith, so
Exactly.
we do it in many different ways. And honestly, I've seen it celebrated so many. I have friends, of course, in Texas, and they have different traditions. And, of course, I initially encountered a community in Arkansas, in southwest Arkansas, who had been celebrating Juneteenth, as I mentioned, since about the 1870s. And they called it June dinner. And so it was a community dinner. And there was hay rides and all kinds of things that in ways that the holiday was celebrated. But I think what also influences it is maybe your environment. Of course, this is the more rural area, so they have their spin and their way of celebrating June dinner as they framed it. But others It could be concerts and music. So I think it takes on the character of the environment and the culture of where people are. So we can all put our own unique spin on it. And so I think that's the beautiful thing about Black creativity, Black imagination, is that there are many ways that we can commemorate and celebrate as we're not a monolith.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but the color red has a significance, does it not?
Yes. Red, and of course, we actually have the Juneteenth symbol that many people don't really know about. But of course, we know about it now. But we have these emblems and what have you that symbolize this freedom, the sacrifices that were made, certainly blood shed. In the war, African Americans who have sacrificed so much. So this takes on various meanings to particular people in various different communities.
So I was just reading. So the Juneteenth flag, there is a flag, and it is red, white, and blue, and it has the same colors as the USA flag to acknowledge formerly enslaved people and their descendants are Americans. Correct. So we're not trying to separate.
Absolutely.
And then there's an arc across the flag symbolizing a new horizon and hope for the future. The flag center is a nod to Texas. There's a star. And then a kind of a burst outlining the star, which suggests a new beginning. So,
correct.
And then the date.
New beginning,
yeah.
Yeah, this radical tradition of freedom. Ultimately, when I look at this symbol, I think of freedom. I think of jubilation. And so there's much to be interpreted in that.
So when did the push come for this to become a national holiday?
Well, this started quite some time ago. I mean, there was, of course, Mrs. Opal Lee who pushed for this holiday for many years, and she talks about this journey. So we can definitely credit her efforts, her activist.
And tell us who she was.
To bring this into the national conversation. So she is a Miss Opal Lee, who is a citizen of Texas, and she was an American teacher. She was an educator who was definitely dedicated to preserving this this tradition known as the grandmother of Juneteenth, who marched across the country to herald this holiday. She was passionate about just African American education, African American history, local history, and worked diligently in her community to really bring this into the national conversation. So she galvanized people throughout Texas and other states to bring forth what we now know as this national holiday. But it was her efforts and the efforts of many, many others who stood behind her to bring this, as I mentioned, to the national forefront.
Okay, 757-440-2665 or 1-800-940-2240. How are you celebrating Juneteenth? What do you have family traditions? Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. 757-440-2665 or 1-800-940-2240. And if you're not familiar with the holiday or you've never celebrated it, what questions do you have? We have historian Dr. Jajuan Johnson here with us to give us the background and all the information that you need to know. 757-440-2665 or 1-800-940-2240. And if you're just joining us, we're talking about the history and traditions of Juneteenth, and there's a celebration going on in our WHRO parking lot. We've got food trucks and lots of folks enjoying lunch. Our Lisa Godley is in the middle of it all, and Lisa, what's going on?
Hey, Barbara. I'm sitting around here talking to people, and they are enjoying the food. They are enjoying the food. I am going to take a moment right now and walk over to one of our food truck vendors and talk to her a little bit about what she has for us in store. Her name is Chantel Davis, and she is the owner of Cargo. And Chantel, she's coming to me right now. And she's going to Chantel, tell us a little bit about what you got going here and what some of the foods the folks can come out here and
have
enjoy.
Her come to you because you're going.
Hey, we're out here celebrating Juneteenth, so I'm so excited. And we have some of our traditional foods with a twist on it. We have some collard green egg rolls. We have some sweet potato egg rolls, but we also have a Caribbean twist on it. You could get some jerk chicken bowls, our street noodles, which are famous, with our stew chicken, which is a sweet chicken. So make sure you check us out. You know where we are. We're here till 2. Also, you can check us out at our website, www.avocargova.com. We have some exciting things coming up, and we're so happy to be here.
I'm telling you, Barbara, the collard green egg rolls, the sweet potato egg rolls, those street noodles, I've tried them all. They are delicious.
Okay. So I got to tell you a secret. I went out there before the show started and put in my order. So I don't want the food to run out.
And the line is just in front of her truck, so I know she has to get back to it. But Chantel, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Chantel. We are at 5200 Hampton Boulevard, right across the street from Old Dominion University. Come on out. Enjoy the rest of the show with us. Have lunch. Talk to some of your favorite folks here at WHRO, WHRV. Dr. Barry Graham will be out there as soon as we finish the show here because he's producing the show right now. But we'll be outside, and we'd love to see you. So come on down. Lisa, we'll come back to you in just a little bit. So, Dr. Johnson, we were talking about how this became a national holiday. So, starting with Opal Lee, and then where do we go from there?
And of course, June 17th, 2021, Joe Biden, of course, President Biden, signed Senate Bill 475, making Juneteenth this federal holiday. The 11th actually federal holiday. And so that was a major milestone that I think not only brought forth the knowledge of the event itself, but it kind of heightened our understanding of the Civil War, its effects, emancipation, what that meant, how these past tie into our present. And so I think that holiday establishment was a moment of reckoning for us to really do some deep, to face our past soberly. So I think there have been many levels of consciousness that have been raised as a result of the establishment of this national holiday. Despite the resistance, I think people are leaning into a knowledge of the historical dynamics surrounding the holiday, which I'm really pleased to see.
And do you think that it also was kind of another way to try to heal the country in light of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all the folks and all the disruption, racial disruption we'd had in the country?
Correct. I think that was definitely a part of it. That a lot was happening at this particular time during this push for the holiday. There was a lot of reckoning that needed to take place, and there still needs to take place. And I hope that believe that it's still happening. But again, it reminds us that despair and hope, can exist in the same space. That people, even during this particular moment of June 19th, 1865. They're experiencing, of course, jubilant hope, but they're also experiencing despair. All of that is occupying one particular space. And so, of course, this holiday comes about during a time where we're experiencing several crises. We have a pandemic. There is anti-Black violence taking place. But there's also this push against the anti-Black violence that's taking place, that is being spearheaded by younger generations who are really laying bare some of the material consequences of these histories that we have inherited.
Mm-hmm. So when you hear about all of the strife and all of the efforts to keep history our history in particular out of the classroom and banning books and all the different divisive things that have been going on lately, what is the danger from a historical standpoint as a historian? What is the danger of that for not just Black people but for the entire country in terms of our knowledge?
I think it's dangerous on many different on several levels. Number one, it harkens to this denialism. We have this a denialism that has existed, has been prevailing for quite some time, where we don't want to face the facts of the past that are very, very harsh, and I understand that. But there's a danger in not knowing, in that if you don't know about something, how can you correct it? If you don't understand that with every inequity, there's a history to that inequity. And so if you're unwilling to address things systemically, you're going to repeat it. The discrimination, that has a history. The ousting of people, keeping people out of opportunities, all of that we're experiencing now has a past. And until we're really willing to lean into that and really face those material consequences of these atrocities that we've experienced, then I'm afraid that we will repeat them. But I think there's a great opportunity for us to be, and I think this is what Juneteenth harkens us to do. I think it harkens us to become socially conscious citizen historians, meaning that we are not only to carefully examine historical evidence, but look at the material consequences and also attempt to answer how the past is tied to the present. How can we use the historical knowledge in our present emancipatory endeavors? So how can we use this knowledge to propel forward to something that's more generative, something that's more positive, something that unites us all? It doesn't have to be divisive. It actually can be healing, and that's part of what we do with the Lemon Project. And I'm really excited about the boldness of our leadership here, who said we're going to face this. And in terms of, I think, the resistance to it, I think I should note that African Americans, we've always found creative ways to educate ourselves and others about who we are. And we're going to do that, whether we do it in our churches, whether we do it in our homes. We've done it underneath a tree, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? I want to talk to you about the Lemon Project and bring us up to speed on that. But before we do that, I want to go back out to Lisa in just a second. Okay. But William and Mary is also having Juneteenth celebrations at the Hearth. And so we'll talk about that on the other side. Let's go to Lisa. What's going on out there in the parking lot?
Well, now I'm here with our other food truck vendor, Shauna. Shauna's has Rich Eats.
Ooh,
so, it's just some good stuff out here, Barbara. Shauna, tell us a little bit about what's on your menu.
Well, we have a little bit of everything. We try to suit everybody's needs on our truck. We have chicken, fish, shrimp po' boys, quesadillas, burgers, hot dogs. We have kid-friendly, so we make sure we have things for the kids. We also do special menus throughout the week because I do a lot of different types of food, Jamaican food, Asian food. So we have a little bit of everything on our truck.
Wow.
So what's your website? So if people want to try to find you throughout the week or on the weekends when you're out and about, where do they go?
Well, I'm on a naval base Monday through Friday, early morning. But I post every day. If they go to my business page, Shauna's Receipts, they know wherever I'm at every day. They know I'm here today.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you so much for being here today. Yeah, Barbara, the party here continues. People are I can't really grab everybody because everybody's chewing right now, but folks are really enjoying themselves.
So we have I know we have our entire staff out there, but do we also have some community folks too?
We do. In fact, I'll have one who's come over from Old Dominion University, who's part of their diversity, equity, and inclusion center over there. So I'm going to talk to him a little bit about, he just returned here from Africa, so he has some things he wants to share as well.
Oh, fantastic. All right. We'll be back to you shortly then.
All right.
All righty. Thank you. Bye. We are at 5200 Hampton Boulevard. We are in the WHRO parking lot. We've got food trucks. We've got delicious, I hope there's still some left, red velvet cupcakes from Confection House. And we're just having a good time today celebrating Juneteenth. And we're also talking with Dr. Jajuan Johnson from William and Mary. And Dr. Johnson, in addition to your knowledge and so forth of Juneteenth, you also are completely immersed in the Lemon Project. And just remind our audience again what the Lemon Project is about.
So the Lemon Project, A Journey of Reconciliation, is, number one, I always like to say, is named after a man who was enslaved by the college named Lemon. Mm-hmm. And so we named the project after Lemon because we found the most evidence, most information on him. But he represents a community of people who were enslaved by the college, enslavement which started in the early part of the 18th century. Mm-hmm. But the Lemon Project builds bridges between William and Mary and the African American communities through three ways. That's research, public programming, and also supporting our students, faculty, and staff. And so my role with the Lemon Project is to, number one, research the people who were enslaved by the college to expand that narrative and to hopefully also find descendants of those who were enslaved by the college using genealogical research.
Wow.
So the Lemon Project, and I want to say this, really came about through student curiosity, students who were curious about slavery at the College of William and Mary. And that evolved into the Board of Visitors actually establishing this project more formally. And so the research started with Dr. Robert Francis Eames, who is a native of Hampton, profound, phenomenal historian who started this research. And we've been building on that research. But beyond, and we don't stop with slavery. We move forward through Reconstruction, through Jim Crow era, through on to the present, examining the ways that the past have bearing on our present circumstances.
And the college actually made a public apology.
Absolutely.
Did it not?
In 2019. Yes, in 2019, the college made an apology. 2009, the Board of Visitors actually established the Lemon Project and acknowledged that the university owned and exploited from its founding to the Civil War, and that it failed to take a stand against segregation during the Jim Crow era. But we had the William and Mary adopted a resolution acknowledging the university enslaved people in 2018, and then that apology came after that.
So tell me about the Hearth, the memorial to the enslaved.
Yeah, so the Hearth Memorial to the Enslaved, which has been a long time coming, but it's here.
It's absolutely stunning, by the way.
It's stunning, and I think it's really the culmination of what the community wanted. When the Lemon Project first started, it was always engaged with communities on many different levels. Of course, the students on campus, faculty and staff, but also those within the Williamsburg community in the greater Tidewater area. And one of the goals was that the research that was being conducted, that the names that we were finding would be memorialized in a monument. And so went through several different processes, but the monument was erected last May 2022, and it bears the name of over 200 people that we have found names, and also those who are unknown. Because many people who were enslaved, we have not been able to find names on them, but it bears, but it states, of course, unknown person. And so we are, of course, still adding names. This year we found 13 more names of people who were enslaved by the college, and now we're trying to build on those narratives and doing all that we can with our search in the archives, our collaboration with community members, because this is community engaged research. And so it's not something that we can do alone, but it requires the assistance of those in the communities in this area and also beyond, because as we know, descendants of the enslaved, of course, migrated to other places, were sold further south. So the descendant communities, the broad term, and we have descendant communities really probably all over the nation and outside of the U.S.
So William and Mary, Friday, June 16th from 3 to 6 p.m. You can meet at the Hearth Memorial to the Enslaved, and they're going to have performers and vendors and more. It's just one of the many activities that are happening in the Williamsburg area. And I also want to bring to your attention on Sunday, June 18th, it's a combination Father's Day, Juneteenth celebration featuring Keb Mo. He's got 5 Grammys, 14 Blues Foundation Awards, and a groundbreaking career spanning nearly 50 years under his belt. And he will be performing, drawing on country, folk, blues, soul. His music transcends genre and geography. And so it's going to be, this is being done by the Virginia Arts Festival at Williamsburg Live, and it is Sunday, June the 18th. Gates open at 5:30 p.m. They also, food trucks are busy this weekend, y'all. They also will have food trucks, and you can come out and enjoy the concert at the lawn at the Arts Museum of Colonial Williamsburg. So just another opportunity to get together. This weekend is about celebration. It is about us being one as Americans. It is a celebration of African Americans. And I want to ask you, Dr. Johnson, when you hear people say, well, that's a black thing, it's not for me, what's your response?
Well, this is all of our story. This is all of our history. This is American history, okay? It belongs to us all. These are histories that we have all inherited. And so that's how I kind of punctuate it, is that African-American history Black history is American history. And I'm really, as I just heard you describe those activities, I remember when I first started celebrating Juneteenth and really had knowledge of it when I was a teenager. And of course, to see nowadays, all different types of announcements on social media, people from all walks of life are observing this holiday and reflecting on this moment. I think that is reflective of the kind of progress that Opal, that many, many others envisioned with this.
Absolutely.
To see the various ways that for this brief moment in time, we come together and that we acknowledge the past and all that it is, all that it brings, all that it encompasses, and also reflect on, okay, how can we use this? I heard your colleague earlier talking about DEI and her role there, and how Juneteenth, this holiday, this knowledge is even influencing that particular type of work. And so I think that is a reason to celebrate this knowledge and how it is propelling us to be a bit more conscious amidst all that's happening, the resistance that's always going to be there. But I think we can lean into the greater that's happening, and that is that people are galvanizing in ways that we have not seen.
Absolutely. And don't you think that it's really the majority that really wants to lean in? I mean, we know that there's a lot of noise from the minority, but the majority really do want to lean in and make this happen. Let me tell you guys out there, if you're looking for things to do to celebrate Juneteenth, the Urban League of Hampton Roads and the City of Portsmouth are presenting their second annual Freedom Day Festival celebrating Juneteenth, and it is on Sunday, Father's Day, from 1 until 9 p.m. at the High Street Landing on the waterfront in Portsmouth. And it's going to be an unforgettable experience for attendees of all ages, featuring live music, renowned headliners, Black-owned vendors, food trucks, mental health providers, a kids area, and so much more. So that's happening in Portsmouth. In Chesapeake, there are 2 plays, and they're both free. Come Freedom Come is Saturday, June 17th at 10 a.m. at the Elizabeth River Park. And this is a program of freedom and empowerment by actor Valerie Davis, who will portray one of Virginia's unsung heroes, Martha Ann Fields. She was an enslaved cook from the Nutshell Plantation in Virginia, in Hanover County. And along with her 8 children, she crossed the Pamunkey River in the dead of night, reaching Union lines and freedom. So another way to learn more about the history of our country, the history of Hampton Roads. It is just so much going on. And then on Saturday, June 17th at 12 p.m. at the Richard A. Tucker Memorial Library, that's on Berkeley Avenue in Norfolk, Valerie Davis will then present a historical interpretation of civil rights activist and Norfolk, Virginia native Evelyn T. Butts. Now, Valerie takes you on a journey through the triumphs and tribulation of Ms. Butts, who challenged the poll tax in Virginia by taking the case all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, and she won. So these women are serious.
Yeah. I love it.
About making things different. Dr. Johnson, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to let you go so that we can go back out and talk with Lisa a little bit more with some folks that are in our parking lot. But the history that you provided for us and the context of this, I think, is so important because we want people to understand what it is. It's not just a opportunity to have a barbecue, even though it is.
Correct. But we can have both. We can have a history lesson and some freedom.
Exactly. You can have a history lesson and some barbecue. Absolutely. Any final words you'd like to say before we let you go?
Yeah, I would just encourage everyone this weekend to lean into this moment. Lean into this. This is about the reclamation of joy. This is about also a moment of reprieve to prepare ourselves for the battles that are ahead. Yeah. So take this time to unite and lean into all that has taken place. I think we're at a good place at this moment in time. So let's just take advantage of all that's going on. Let's lean into this particular moment of joy.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much, Dr. Jajuan Johnson from William and Mary. And now we want to go outside again to Lisa Godley to see what's happening. We are partying in the parking lot of WHRO Public Media. We've got food trucks. We've got folks coming in. Come on down. We'll be here until 2 o'clock so that you can come and enjoy some lunch. Lisa, what's happening?
Yeah, Barbara, the party continues. I'm telling you, folks are still chewing out here, but we are just meeting new people and enjoying things. And I'm here with John Wiley, who has come from all the way across Hampton Boulevard from Old Dominion University. The Office of Diversity. You tell me the office.
The Office of Institutional Equity and Diversity.
That's right. And John is also a member of the WHRO Emerging Leaders Board.
Fantastic.
John, you said something before we get into your recent trip to Senegal. You were telling me about when you were a child, and well, not a child, but you were in college, and tell me a little bit about those trips.
Yeah, so my mother is originally from Houston, and I have family throughout Galveston and Orange, Texas. So I used to spend a lot of my summers down in Houston, going to the Juneteenth parades. My uncles rode horses, so they would participate in the block rodeos, and it was a really great time.
Wonderful. Wow. Can you imagine those huge Juneteenth parades? Now tell me a little bit about this most recent trip.
Okay, so I just came back from Senegal about 2 weeks ago as part of a study abroad trip. We were studying the history, the politics, and the culture of Senegal.
What did you take away from that visit?
Just how communal it is there. I came back more and intergenerational, right? So you can have like 3 generations of one family living in one home, and just how everyone looks out for each other. And I really that really resonated with me. So.
Wow, it sounds like an incredible trip. Barbara, I'm telling you, you got to come out here because it's some fascinating folks out here, and the food, of course, is incredible. So, we're just having a good time.
Okay, now we cannot leave this hour without talking about the red velvet cupcakes.
Oh.
Now we must, first of all, Chef Jessica Yowell is the responsible person for all the calories that are not going to happen today when you eat these red velvet cupcakes. But tell us about them.
Okay, Jessica, can I stop the line for just a second and
just tell us say hi.
Barbara says say hi and tell us about what you got out here.
Hi, I have red velvet cupcakes with cream cheese frosting and chocolate chip cookies with French sea salt.
Yum.
She said that's all she's gonna say right now.
That's fine.
But they are flying off out here, so you want something sweet, you better come get it.
So Lisa, what are people telling you about why they came out today?
They want to celebrate and they want to learn. They were very excited about learning and hearing what Dr. Jajuan Johnson had to say about Juneteenth, and it's a learning experience and it's a celebration. So just if you're not planning to do something this weekend, think about it and think about all the things that are going on and just get involved because it's an incredible celebration.
Absolutely. And so we were really happy to be able to bring this to the community because you never know what Another View is going to do.
You never know.
Oh, gosh. Well, I'm going to let you go for just a minute and see if you can find the person who's come the farthest to join us. Okay, and I'll come back to you in just a second.
All right.
So just want to bring you guys up to speed on a couple of other things that are happening at the Hampton History Museum. A Juneteenth pageant, the play, at the Northampton Community Center. That's at 1435 Todd's Lane. It is free. It is Friday, June the 16th at 7 p.m. And this is Celebrate Juneteenth with the hopeful contestants of a Juneteenth pageant. Witness as they grapple for the crown and discover the true meaning of Freedom Day. And you will laugh, you may cry, but you'll leave entertained and enlightened. So that's yet another event that is going to be happening. York, James City County, Williamsburg, NAACP is holding a motor parade and Juneteenth Community Fest on Bicentennial Park. That's Saturday the 17th from 9 a.m. until noon. The morning kicks off with a motor parade lineup in Highland Park at 8:30 a.m., followed by the NAACP Youth Works and Williamsburg Police Department car show in Bicentennial Park from 9 until noon. There'll be a community vendor fair with over 35 local vendors, etc. So that's going on. If you're looking for a sunrise service, there is a Juneteenth sunrise service, which is on Sunday the 18th. Get your father or father figure up early. They will be there from 6 to 7 a.m. to commemorate the triumphant spirit of African American journey. Colonial Williamsburg Foundation is hosting the sunrise service on Sunday morning, 6 a.m. at the majestic Compton Oak, a landmark tree symbolizing life, endurance, shelter, and joy. Special keynote address by visionary thought leader Tina Lifford. And so that should be a beautiful service that will be going on also. So let's see if we can run back out to Lisa for just a second. And Lisa, did you find anybody?
I'm finding folks, of course, Virginia Beach, Norfolk. I think the furthest right now is Newport News.
Oh, they came just for lunch, really?
Just came out here to celebrate with Another View. Tell me your name, please.
Lucy Van Tyne.
Lucy Van Tyne is here all the way from Newport News.
And ask Lucy why she came.
Why'd you come out all the way this way, Lucy?
I love Barbara Hamley's show, Another View, and I try to watch it every week. I listen to it every week, and I just heard, I'm on the email list for Barbara Hamley's show, and they said, come on down, and you can hear the show and have a wonderful food trucks in the parking lot, and get to hang out with Lisa Godley and Barbara Hamley and the guests. And so I thought, wow, that sounds like a wonderful Juneteenth celebration.
Lucy, we are so glad you're here, and we're so glad you decided to do that. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Absolutely. So, Lisa, what are you going to do to celebrate Juneteenth?
Oh, my. I hate to say I will be doing a little work, but you know, I have my list of festivities and things that are going on, but I will be attending some of them definitely. I just have to decide which ones because there's so much to choose from. I mean, there's a lot going on, and I am so elated that so much is going on that people can participate in and be a part of, and this is just an incredible celebration. So a time to learn and have fun.
Absolutely. And just one other event that is going on, the Juneteenth Cultural Celebration, which is also free to the public. I love the fact that all of these events are free. So that people can bring their families out. You can come, you can just enjoy yourself. Don't have to worry about cost. And so this is June 17th, 18th, and 19th. There are 4 different locations in the city of Virginia Beach: Barrett's Landing, Armory Drive Park, College Drive Park, and Hayden Village. So they're going to all have tribute to and in the birthplace of Nat Turner, Dred Scott, and Anthony Garnier. All kinds of tours, things that will be going on. So for more information, you can call 757-777-1935. And this is in conjunction with the Virginia African American Cultural Center. So we are really happy to have them here also. And there is still time for you to join us here at WHRO. Come on down to 5200 Hampton Boulevard in Norfolk, grab some lunch, and celebrate Juneteenth with us. We've had a great time on the show today, and you can listen to it again as you can listen to all of our shows. We're at anotherviewradio.org, and when you go to that site, you just go down to the bottom and click archive, and all of our programs are there. And while you're there, also, please remember to sign up for our eView newsletter. It's a once-a-week reminder of upcoming shows. Next week on Another View, former Norfolk Police Chief Larry Boone, one of his final interviews in Hampton Roads before he starts his new position as the top cop in Urbana, Illinois. Our theme music is an original composition created especially for Another View by Jay Sennett. Lisa Godley is our show producer. Jordan Christie is our audio engineer. Dr. Barry Graham answered our phones. And thanks to Todd and Vic also for helping out with audio today. I'm Barbara Ham Lee. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers and father figures listening to us. And happy Juneteenth, everyone. Enjoy the holiday weekend, and let's get together again next Thursday at noon for Another View.
Support comes from Hampton Roads Community Foundation, partnering with donors from all walks of life to improve southeastern Virginia through grants, scholarships, and leadership initiatives. Learn more at hamptonroadscf.org.